Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Wednesday, March 26th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. A top Trump administration official takes responsibility for a group chat that inadvertently included a journalist about the United States' plans to bombard the Houthi rebels. What he said specifically and what happens from here. Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson on the federal courts that are blocking the president's executive actions. Why he says desperate times call for desperate measures and what he means by that.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
This morning, the fallout continues after top Trump administration officials inadvertently added a journalist to an unsecured Signal group chat while discussing plans for a U.S. attack on Houthi rebels in Yemen earlier this month. 5 cabinet members are now facing a federal lawsuit over their alleged use of the app Signal for that conversation. The defendants include Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, and CIA Director John Ratcliffe, as well as the National Archives and Records Administration. In the lawsuit, American Oversight, a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, alleges the use of the app violates the federal law that governs the preservation of government records. The group wants a federal judge to order the cabinet members to preserve the messages. Lawyers are also asking for a judge to declare the use of Signal unlawful. President Donald Trump says he will look into the security breach. He has defended National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who has taken full responsibility for the incident, saying he started the chat group.
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
In an interview with Fox News last night, Waltz reiterated that he takes responsibility for the incident, but then turned the conversation on the Democratic Party and the previous administration that he says neglected the Houthi attacks on American ships in the Red Sea.
Embarrassing, yes, but Pete and I are veterans. We know these operations. He has been an excellent Secretary of Defense, and this was an operation that, it amazes me. I guess the Democrats were fine to leave all the sea lanes shut down. We're fine to have destroyers fired on dozens of times by this terrorist group, and fine to have Iran keep supplying them missiles. That was okay. The president takes decisive action. And now we're seeing some real success in taking down their air defenses, opening the sea lanes, taking out their leadership. We don't want to talk about that.
Waltz added he does not know the journalist who was included in the chat, the Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, but said he's going to, quote, get to the bottom of how this happened, and said the best technical minds are looking into how the incident happened, mentioning tech billionaire and Trump ally Elon Musk by name. President Trump's latest executive order will bring sweeping changes to the way Americans vote in the next federal election. Straight Arrow News reporter Lauren Taylor breaks down what the order entails.
President Trump signed an executive order Tuesday concerning national elections in the United States. It would require a few items, including 1, government-issued proof of citizenship for voters who register to vote in national elections. Currently, not all states require proof of citizenship in order to register to vote. Identification includes a passport, a real ID, military, state, or federally issued form of ID showing proof of citizenship. 2, requires states to count ballots received on Election Day, barring states from counting mail-in ballots received after Election Day. 3, requires the Attorney General to prioritize laws restricting non-citizens from registering to vote or voting and work with state AGs to prosecute those who break the law. And 4, orders the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Government Efficiency to review each state's public voter registration list and compare it alongside federal immigration databases. Critics of the order say it will disenfranchise millions of voters who may be naturalized citizens on the voter rolls. Sophia Lynn Latkin, the director of the ACLU's Voting Rights Project, released a statement saying, in part, this measure will no doubt disproportionately impact historically excluded communities, including voters of color, naturalized citizens, people with disabilities, and the elderly, by pushing unnecessary barriers to the fundamental right to vote. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, also reacted to Trump's new executive order. President Trump is finally taking the action long needed to put the resources of federal agencies like the Departments of Homeland Security and Justice to work, helping states instead of trying to hinder their efforts to reform our election process. Hans von Spakovsky, senior legal fellow and manager of Heritage's Election Law Reform Initiative, said in a partial statement. According to the order, states that do not cooperate in investigations and prosecutions of election crimes may lose federal grants and funding. The ACLU says it plans to see Trump in court.
That was our Lauren Taylor reporting. Legal experts say the president does not have authority over elections. The Constitution gives Congress and individual states power to regulate the times, places, and manner of holding elections. Since taking office in January, President Donald Trump has made a slew of moves, doing everything from restructuring the federal government to cracking down on undocumented immigrants. A number of his orders are already facing legal challenges, and in some cases, federal district court judges have blocked the president's orders. Last week, President Trump authorized Attorney General Pam Bondi and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to sanction law firms that file what they deem to be frivolous lawsuits against his administration. Now, one of the GOP's top leaders has suggested the federal government could take it even further. Straight Arrow News political correspondent Ray Bogan explains how.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says Congress could eliminate a federal district court as Republicans continue their criticisms of judges who have blocked President Trump's agenda.
We do have authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have power funding over the courts and all these other things. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act.
Johnson later walked back his comment and said he was speaking broadly about Congress's authority over the courts. Article 3 of the Constitution states, "The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish." Not all Republicans support defunding or even lowering the amount of funding courts receive. Senator Josh Hawley told NBC News that would create a massive backlog. He said it would be better to get more conservative judges confirmed. President Trump has been fiercely criticizing judges who have issued injunctions or blocks on his policies in recent days. The president called for a district court judge to be impeached and shared an essay online which made the case for charging judges who oppose him with treason and sedition. Congressman Brandon Gill introduced articles of impeachment against District Court Judge James Boasberg after he put a restraining order on deportation flights of alleged Venezuelan gang members. Republicans argue Boasberg exceeded his constitutional authority by blocking the president from carrying out his immigration agenda. Republicans also oppose the use of nationwide injunctions, which allows a single district court judge who covers a specific region to block an action across the country.
But something is happening right now that has not happened before. In the last 100 years, listen to this, 67% of the injunctions issued against a president were issued against one president alone, and that's Donald J. Trump.
The House Judiciary Committee is working on a bill to ban nationwide injunctions. Speaker Johnson said the House will vote on that bill next week.
It is a dangerous trend, and it violates equal justice under law, that critical principle. It violates our system itself. It violates separation of powers when a judge thinks that they can enjoin something that a president is doing that the American people voted for. That is not what the founders intended.
Congress has abolished federal courts in the past, most recently in 1982 when it shut down the Court of Claims. I'm Ray Bogan for Straight Arrow News. For more reporting, download the SAN app.
Even if articles of impeachment are brought against federal district judges who oppose President Trump, impeachment is seen as a largely futile effort, because at least 14 Senate Democrats would have to join Republicans in convicting and removing any of the judges. The Constitution requires a two-thirds vote in the Senate to convict, not just a simple majority. Earlier this week, we told you how the wife of Vice President J.D. Vance and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz would be traveling to Greenland later this week, a territory that President Trump has repeatedly talked about annexing or taking under American control. Now it appears the itinerary has changed. Vice President Vance, in a video released on Tuesday, says he's going.
Speaking for President Trump, we want to reinvigorate the security of the people of Greenland because we think it's important to protecting the security of the entire world.
Vance is expected to visit the U.S. military base on Greenland, which will erase some questions about protocol. The Greenland government had posted on Facebook Monday night that it had not extended any invitations or any visits, neither private nor local. Vance and his wife Usha will be leaving for Greenland on Friday. However, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who was initially slated to go, is no longer on the list. Greenland is now seen as a strategic territory and gateway to the Arctic and the North Atlantic that both China and Russia are interested in. Greenland is officially a self-governing region within Denmark. It is the world's largest island and also rich in minerals. Now to the war in Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a ceasefire in the Black Sea following talks involving Trump administration officials this week in Saudi Arabia. In a statement, the White House says the deal will, quote, ensure safe navigation, eliminate the use of force, and prevent the use of commercial vessels for military purposes in the Black Sea. At a press conference yesterday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the agreement took effect immediately and noted that the White House statement did not specify what actions, if any, would be taken if Russia violates the terms of the agreement. He said Ukraine will ask the Trump administration for more weapons and additional sanctions against Russia if that happens. The White House also said the U.S. agreed with Russia and Ukraine to develop measures for implementing agreements between President Trump, President Zelensky, and Russian President Vladimir Putin to ban strikes against energy facilities of Russia and Ukraine. Finally, one of hockey's incredible records is closer to getting broken. Alex Ovechkin is getting closer to snapping Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals ever scored in a career. Ovechkin scored again last night for the Washington Capitals against Winnipeg, giving him 889 goals all time. He is 5 goals shy of tying Gretzky's record of 894 and 6 goals away from breaking it. It's a bit of a race against time as Washington only has 11 games left in the regular season. So if Ovechkin does not break the record this season, fans will have to wait until October and next season for the countdown to continue. In Washington, they refer to Ovechkin, who wears number 8, as the Great 8. While Gretzky is often referred to as the Great One. As they say, records are made to be broken. I'm a big Gretzky fan. It's going to hurt to see this one go down, but times change. Those are your unbiased updates for this Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.